So here I just want to give an overview as to this journal entry and kind of what I'm looking for here. So there are three images posted in Blackboard and you're to address each image. So what I'm asking for is two paragraphs for each image. So the first paragraph, just very simply take a little time to describe what's in the photograph. Then going from there, utilizing those descriptions, I want you to use a second paragraph to talk about what the photograph is about, and it has to do with what's in the photograph. In other words, I don't want to say there's a green building and you say, well, this reminds me of when I was a child and I dropped my hot dog in front of this green building, and green buildings make me sad now because of that hot dog that fell and I never got to eat. That's not in that photograph. And of course, there's not a photograph I'm showing you. But we want to talk about what's actually in the photograph to kind of discern that meaning. So this kind of sets us up for that final critique as we're going to look at others' photographs and hopefully at times start to find meaning within those photographs. So what you'll find is, what you've already found because you're in watching this video, a meaningful journal, video, and images. So here are the three images. Again, I don't want you mixing paragraphs between the images. So here's image one where you take two paragraphs to talk about it. And then here is image two. Now these first two we've already seen and talked a little bit about. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a head start, so to speak. This one we've talked about the artist, but we haven't talked about this image. Andreas Gursky, Amazon. It's a warehouse in Amazon from 2016. So again, 6 paragraphs in total, 2 paragraphs talking about each separate image. So the reason why I want you to spend some time describing the photograph is because that's surprisingly helpful in trying to discern like what the photograph is about. So here is an image that apparently is a human figure. It looks slightly distorted, but maybe one of the key words in discussing this is the image is dark. It is literally dark. There's so much black to this. And is that descriptive word, is it kind of germane to what the image is about? Maybe there is a certain darkness to the image. I say that more in metaphor. But sometimes these adjectives that we start to use to talk about them and just simply describing it starts to get at the meaning of the image. We've seen this image before from Sugimoto. So if I were just simply to describe this, it looks like an affluent theater. It looks like a very bright screen. So nothing profound in the descriptions necessarily. There's no people in the seats. Is that applicable to the image? Does that have some bearing as to how we read the image? Sometimes there might be extraneous information that can be helpful in understanding. So the images I gave you, I think are relatively less challenging than other images. And I don't think you need that extra information to have this discussion. But this image here, this image is, as we talked about in class, this one is, the shutter's been open for the full duration that this movie is playing on the screen. So approximately an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so in some ways, kind of what we're seeing is 2 hours worth of a movie all captured in one moment. And it starts to question conceptually, what it is to experience time and how does a photograph experience time? Because there's always a duration of time in which a photograph is made. And what happens when that duration is longer? We experience something here that we can't experience in real life. And so this perhaps asks more questions than it answers, but it starts to all revolve around this issue of time. And so that's kind of what I mean by just kind of getting at the meaning of things and The point of this journal is just to, it's not meant to be a heavy burden. I'm not looking for you to write a big dissertation on these. And you're welcome to use the internet if you want to see what other people have to say about these. Maybe that'll help give you direction. But again, this isn't meant to be a heavy burden. This is just meant to get you thinking and talking about photographs, kind of setting us up as we finish that final critique of the semester.